from Lydia Ko, the champion at the HSBC Women's World Championship.
She conquered the LPGA before she even turned 20, then lost it in front of everyone. The youngest world #1 in golf history, multi-major champion, Olympic medalist, Lydia Ko looked undefeatable, but then her swing fell apart, her ranking collapsed, and her silence became a mystery everyone tried to solve. What really happened, and why did it feel like the tour looked away? Before the headlines turned cruel, Lydia Ko seemed untouchable. But perfection always comes with an expiration date. The only question was, when would hers run out? Born in Seoul in 1997, raised in New Zealand, she was already outplaying adults by 12. She'd made the cut and finished T7 in a ladies' European Tour event, the youngest ever to do so. Her swing looked like poetry, effortless, repeatable, unshakable. At 15, she made history, winning the 2012 Canadian Women's Open, the youngest to ever do it. By 17, she was world #1, again, the youngest in either men's or women's golf. Every week, it felt like history was being rewritten by a teenager. 14 LPGA titles, 2 majors, the 2015 Evian Championship and 2016 ANA Inspiration, and a silver medal at the Rio Olympics. The media called her golf's smiling assassin. Sponsors flooded in. Fans loved the polite teenager who never lost her cool. But perfection is dangerous. The higher you rise, the smaller your margin for human error. And Lydia was about to find out just how brutal that fall could be. In 2016, Lydia made a move that shocked the golf world. It was a decision that looked bold, but this decision, it would change everything. It started with her splitting with her longtime coach, David Leadbetter, the architect of her flawless swing. Then came the unraveling. New caddy, new coach, new swing, new everything. The girl who once made golf look effortless was now searching for herself in the details. But did these changes give her the results she was hoping for? The answer, painfully, was no. In fact, every tweak pulled her further from what once came naturally. There was confusion, inconsistency, and suddenly, Lydia Ko, once the game's most effortless player, couldn't find the center of the club face. Between 2017 and 2020, the trophies stopped coming. Just one win in 4 years, from world #1 to wondering what went wrong. Fans were stunned, and naturally, reporters began asking, what happened to Lydia Ko? No one knew it then, but the story was only getting stranger. At first, people were sympathetic, but as the slump dragged on, admiration turned into mockery. Headlines shifted from praise to postmortem. Legend? Interrupted. What's wrong with Lydia Ko? Petulant princess or misunderstood millionaire? The truth about what's wrong with Lydia Ko, these are all actual headlines from the time. Commentators dissected her swing frame by frame. Fans zoomed in on screenshots like detectives chasing a clue. Every smile, every sigh turned into evidence. Even her appearance became a talking point. During one 2019 broadcast, guest commentator Julie Inkster remarked that Ko looks like she needs to go to the buffet counter a little bit, while Judy Rankin added, "We all want to see 5 more pounds on Lydia." The remarks drew significant online and media criticism for being body-shaming, but the damage was done. Lydia Ko, once golf's symbol of grace, had become an easy target. She never fought back, not publicly, at least. She answered with smiles and diplomacy, but that silence, that refusal to fight back, was exactly what left many wondering. What was she holding inside? What was she not saying? The longer the silence lasted, the wilder the rumors became. Articles questioned whether she'd retire early. Gossip accounts speculated about feuds with coaches. A few even whispered that she was mentally done. Each new headline turned uncertainty into drama, keeping her name trending even when she wasn't winning. None of it was proven, of course, but it still spread, one false story after another, amplified online until it began to shape how fans and journalists saw her. In golf's rumor economy, the truth is optional, and drama sells. The story of Lydia Ko's collapse became more interesting than Lydia herself. As the speculation spiraled, some began to ask a different kind of question. Was the LPGA quietly trying to manage the narrative around its biggest young star? It started as a whisper, then grew into one of golf's strangest theories. Had the LPGA stepped in to control Lydia's narrative? There was no proof, no leaked memo, no gag order, but there were signs something was off. During her slump, Lydia's press access quietly tightened. Her post-round interviews were brief, filtered, almost rehearsed. It seemed like calm, polished answers became her trademark. She'd keep it professional, safe, and reveal almost nothing. Meanwhile, Lydia's social media posts became generic, corporate, and impersonal. The girl who once radiated joy now looked like a PR product. To some, it looked like protection, a league shielding its star from pressure. To others, it looked like censorship, a business shielding its brand from honesty. Did the LPGA want to maintain a calm, marketable image for sponsors and audiences, even if that meant keeping Lydia's real struggles behind the curtain? We still don't know. What we do know is, through it all, Lydia never disappeared. She showed up at every tee time, practiced until sundown, and refused to let her story end there. But what was she really fighting for? Redemption, peace, or just the chance to prove everyone wrong? Her comeback didn't start with a swing. It started with a thought. Lydia began working with coach Sean Foley, the same coach who helped Tiger Woods rebuild from injury and doubt. But Foley wasn't just teaching golf, he was teaching perspective. Foley emphasized not just mechanics but mindset, reminding her that golf couldn't be her entire identity and that she needed to separate her sense of self from her scorecard. And slowly, Lydia began to believe it. Her tempo returned. Her confidence rebuilt itself, one quiet round at a time. In interviews, Ko herself would later say Foley helped her see the bigger picture beyond trophies and rankings. In 2021, she won the LATA Championship in Hawaii, her first victory in 3 years. It wasn't just a win, it was a resurrection. A year later, she added 3 more titles, reclaimed the world #1 ranking, and was named LPGA Player of the Year. Off the course, in late 2022, rumors began swirling. Photos of a wedding invitation, whispers about a mysterious fiancé from South Korea. For weeks, fans speculated who he was, why she was so private about it, and whether love might be the final missing piece of her comeback. Then, in December 2022, the mystery ended. Lydia Ko married Chung Jun, a Hyundai heir, in an intimate ceremony in Seoul that drew global headlines. But for her, it wasn't about the attention, it was about balance, calm, and finally finding something steadier than golf. The same media that once buried her now called her comeback one of the greatest in golf. But was the comeback really here to stay? Or was one more twist waiting just around the corner? Turns out, this time it stayed. By 2024, Lydia Ko's story felt like something out of a movie. She entered the Paris Olympics, and round after round, she played with steady precision, unshaken by pressure. When the final putt dropped, Lydia stood atop the podium, Olympic gold glistening in the French sun. 8 years earlier, she'd won silver in Rio. 3 years earlier, bronze in Tokyo. Now she had all 3, gold, silver, and bronze, something no golfer had ever done. Weeks later, she lifted the AIG Women's Open Trophy at St. Andrews, her first major in 8 years. It secured her spot in the LPGA Hall of Fame at just 27, making her the youngest inductee ever. This wasn't just a comeback. This was a full circle. With all the records shattered, medals gleaming, and a career most golfers could only dream of, Lydia Ko's story may look flawless from the outside. But as we have seen, her story isn't about perfection, it's about perseverance. She showed the world that a career isn't ruined by falling, it's defined by how you rise again. She was never the most hated woman in golf. She was the most human. Because what looked like silence was survival. What looked like weakness was transformation. And what looked like the end was just the beginning of something stronger.